years ago, I was helping my mom clean out the attic and came across a box of black plastic rectangles, each one about the size of a novel. I wondered aloud what on earth these things were, and when my mom saw what I was asking about, she burst into laughter and explained that they were VHS tape cassettes that were used to record and play movies using a special player that was hooked up to the television. After learning about these VHS cassettes, I'm now even more grateful that today we have streaming services such as Netflix and Hulu, which make watching our favourite movies and TV shows just the click of a button away, whether you're lounging on a couch or on an airplane. No more clunky machines and wires needed, just a password and some Wi-Fi. This is only one example of how the world has been changing right before our very eyes. Virtually every industry has been experiencing massive and rapid changes over the last few years. Just look at what Airbnb has done to the hospitality industry, or what Uber and Lyft have done to the transportation industry. Even the way we eat has been transformed, as now, with just a few swipes on our phones, food can be delivered straight to our front doors, 24/7, thanks to Deliveroo. This got me to thinking about how technology has evolved in such a short period of time, and how it affects the way in which we live and interact. Parents, grandparents, children, and the range of loved ones who form part of the modern family are constantly facing new and challenging choices regarding the use, access, and control of technology, all thanks to the presence of the ever-expanding range of devices, such as laptops, iPads, and gaming systems, just to name a few. 30%, just over 2.5 billion people of the world's population are smartphone users. In 2017, 90% of households in Great Britain had internet access, a whopping increase from 57% in 2006. But nowhere is the impact of technology more noticeable than on the dynamic of families. The extent of this impact is largely determined by parents, who have the capacity to make numerous decisions regarding their children's media environment, such as, will they be allowed to have a TV in their bedroom, or are smartphones allowed at the dinner table? There is no doubt that modern technology has improved our lives in many ways, with the increased ease and efficiency of communication across both short and long distances being just one of them. We now have instant answers at our fingertips. No longer do we have the rows of encyclopedias lining our bookshelves, requiring us to actually research a topic. Instead, we simply turn to the experts at Google. Have a question about your history homework? Just ask Google. Not sure how long to boil an egg for? Just ask Google. I must hear the phrase, just Google it, at least 30 times each day, and I'm definitely guilty of using it myself. But on the flip side, it cannot be denied that technology is also creating divides within our families. For example, one study found that when the working parent arrived home after work, their children were so immersed in technology that the parent was only greeted 30% of the time, and they were totally ignored 50% of the time. The divide is deepened by the fact that parents often don't keep up with the developments that their digitally native kids are already familiar with. This divergence in competence in such an important area of children's lives makes it harder for parents to limit and control the use of technology in the home. Technology has provided us with an independence in communicating with others, and in the case of children, especially with their friends. Consider this. In past generations, if a child wanted to get in contact with their friend, they had no choice but to call the landline and risk a parent picking up on the other end, giving guardians the opportunity to monitor and act as gatekeepers for their children's social lives. Well, times have changed as social media, mobile networks, and instant messaging has provided us with the channels that we need to instantly contact anyone we want to. Along with this comes independence and freedom in the eyes of the child, but parents view it as a loss of connection. I find it interesting that parents have attempted to counteract this growing divide, not by actual face-to-face communication, but instead by joining their children in cyberspace. A phenomenon that has caused considerable debate involves parents using Facebook in order to keep track of their children's coming and goings. Other parents friend their children as a means of feeling closer to them. But how do kids react to their parents friending them on Facebook? An informal survey I conducted of dozens of teenagers concluded that the dominant response can best be characterized as, "Ew, no way." But it's important to recognize that it's not only children who are responsible for the growing divide between parents and their offspring. Parents can be equally guilty for contributing to the distance that it seems to be increasing in families, as they are often wrapped up in their own technology, such as responding to emails or chatting on their mobiles, when they could instead be talking to, playing with, or generally connecting with their children. Another significant impact of technology on the dynamic of families are the potentially dangerous side effects of using it. Psychologists are quickly learning how damaging these devices can be, with research showing that the risks of suicide are much higher for those who are on their phones for at least 3 hours per day. But just to put that into perspective, according to the Generation M2 study conducted by the Kaiser Family Foundation, 8 to 18-year-olds spend an average of 7 hours online each day. And even more shocking than this is the fact that teen suicide rates now eclipse the homicide rate, with the excessive use of smartphones being the driving force of this. The addictive power of technology is highlighted by the fact that two of the biggest tech figures the world has seen in recent years, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, seldom allow their kids to play with the very products they created. 66% of 8 to 18-year-olds own a mobile phone, making the image of a teenager with a cell phone in hand almost iconic in our society. But it's up to us to make sure that these technologies do not control our lives, and instead we are able to incorporate them into our lives in ways that are useful and safe. Overall, it is undeniable that family life has changed dramatically in the past generation. It seems that everyone is always busy with work, school, or extracurricular activities, resulting in less time for families to spend together. Throw technology into the mix, and that only deepens the changes. I think that most of the advances with modern technology are great. I love posting pictures on Instagram and taking selfies using the Snapchat filters. I love asking my Amazon Alexa to tell me a joke, and Google Maps has definitely saved me a countless number of times when wandering around in a new city. But I also believe that traditional techniques, such as letter writing and debating around the dinner table, are more important than ever, and we mustn't underestimate the power that they have to allow us to get ahead in life. Equally, in order to adapt in the future to technologies that haven't yet even been invented, flexibility and creative thinking are essential. By embracing technology now, a family will be better prepared to make the most of this fast-changing world and plan ahead for whatever comes flying in their direction. In the words of Bill Gates, technology is just a tool. In terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them, the teacher is most important. And I think that this can also be said of parents and the family unit. In my eyes, the saying, "Everything in moderation," truly sums up the way in which technology should be used. Thank you.